called Amanda to the Rescue. We're super happy to have talent like Amanda on our show who embody the passion of Animal Planet, and they bring to life their cause. And you know, you've heard a lot about Amanda's story already, and I'm sure you've got questions for her. So I'll leave it to you.
Thank you guys so much for being here today. It's an honor for me to be here, and I've really enjoyed my time in the Philippines so far, and I've only been here for like 1 day, but I'm pretty sure this is one of my favorite places I've ever visited. So I'm loving it. But yeah, you know what? I'm an open book, so ask away.
Okay, Amanda, in your observation, how different does the West see and treat the animals, any animals, particularly the cats and dogs, from the East?
I would say that we do have the same problems that us animal welfare advocates are battling with abuse and cruelty, hoarding cases, trying to educate people on the positive things that come along with spaying and neutering your animals. Obviously not just pet population issues, but also healthcare. Like, it's healthier for your animal if you spay and neuter your animal. So that's obviously a very similar message. We do see abuse and neglect. I just don't think we see it at the same level. I think in the West, in the United States of America, we are a little bit more ahead with animal rights and laws, and then how we actually attack those laws and follow through with you know, legal repercussions. So we're a little bit ahead that way, but I think everyone is starting to have the light bulb go off that animals should be treated fairly and with compassion and empathy and kindness, not physically or emotionally, sexually, mentally abused.
What was the most heartbreaking rescue you've ever done for any animals, not necessarily the usual pets?
I think some of the most heartbreaking, and I can't narrow it down to one because I've done this for over a decade. I've saved over 4,000 animals, so I can't bring it down to one, but I will say that whenever I come across an animal that has been physically or sexually tortured and abused, those ones break my heart the most. You know, that's an animal, a living being that doesn't have a voice and can't say no and can't get out of the situation, and that animal still will turn around and love their abuser the next day. And so that's heartbreaking to me because it's so unfair.
What's the biggest?
Go ahead.
Yeah. We've only been here a day, but I don't know if you've seen the street cats and street dogs in the city. How would you advise a normal, regular citizen to be able to help street cats and the street dog population?
Well, I think in order to get ahead of the street dog and street cat population, it requires pet owners to be responsible, and that includes spaying and neutering their own animals. And I know a lot of people still have an old school mentality about altering your animal, but really if we want to stop this overpopulation, we have to take care of our own animals in our home first and foremost. Second, trap, spay, and neuter release programs are incredible because there is a place for the street dogs and the street cats. I mean, they take care of vermin, they clean up the cities, like there is a place for them. But I think that if we can spay and neuter them and spay and neuter the pets in people's homes, that's the best way you can get ahead. And then of course, if you can donate time or you can donate finances, find a place like Pause where you can actually come down here and invest your time, because time is priceless, you know, and that extra volunteer work is something that they may have 20 volunteers, but not all 20 volunteers can always be here, so that's priceless.
How do you feel regular citizens can help educate people who probably aren't aware, because the Philippines is like 7,000 islands and remote places where you go up the mountains or you teach your dogs there that you know can't reach the kind of programs that may have in the city. So how would you suggest people, like regular citizens or whoever, advocates, educate people in remote areas?
Educate them on what? On altering? On spaying and neutering?
Yeah.
I think that it would be really great if people could help them out. If they're in remote areas, if you have a vehicle, can you bring their animal to be spayed and neutered, things like that. But also if they're going to acquire an animal, have them adopt an animal that's already spayed and neutered, because then you don't have to worry about it when you're up in the mountain regions. But I think, again, it's working together. It's not one person's problem, and it's not Paws' problem to fix. It really is the community's problem to fix, everyone together.
What's the most satisfying thing about the job?
The most satisfying thing is seeing the happily ever afters. When the animals get their, when they survive and they succeed and then they get their forever families, I think that is the happiest thing for me. I actually was just talking about it with the Paws team that, you know, rescue, you don't often get things, and a lot of people think you're really crazy for even investing your whole life in this. But then when you see an animal find their best friend and a human find their best friend in an animal, I think that's the best part of rescue, and it keeps me going.
How did you get into animal rescue?
I started out as an animal rescuer, so when I was, let's see, I was 10 or 11, I think I was about 10, was my very first rescue. It was a cat, her name was Jane Doe, and because we didn't think she was going to survive. She was about the size of a lemon, and she was covered in fleas, she was anemic, she was very sick, she was cold, and I washed her off, took her down to the vet, and the vet said, look, Amanda, I don't think this cat's going to live, but if you put the time into it, I'll put the money into it. And I was like, I took the challenge and ran with it, and that cat survived all the way into my 20s. Yeah, so she was my very first rescue.
Amanda,
How many rescued animals do you currently have?
I have 5 dogs in my pack, and right now we have 8 dogs under the rescues umbrella. We have one, it's an Akita puppy, and she's 11 days old now, and she's tube fed. She has a cleft palate, so we tube feed her, and then once she's big enough, once she's about 20 weeks old, then we'll fix her palate, close that. We have 4 Chihuahuas that are on physical therapies to get them healthy and ready for adoption. We have 2 Cavalier King Charles Spaniels right now for adoption, and then we also have a dog named Bunny that's a Japanese Chin, and she's born with little flippers for feet, so she's like, and her eyes go like, woo.
Do you have a particular favorite?
Of my pack or rescues?
Yes.
In my pack, my, like, what I call my heart dog, like, he pretty much could have been born out of my body, is Bullfrog. That one's Duncan. But Bullfrog he's a spaniel, but he raises all of our infant puppies. So if we have like 2 fed or bottle fed puppies, he becomes like their mama or their dad, and he'll nurse them. He's a boy, but he'll nurse them, and he like grooms them.
Very maternal.
He's very, very paternal. Yeah, he's definitely our mom or daddy dog, whichever you want to call it.
Amanda, can you give us a little background about Amanda and the Rescue Show?
Yeah.
And what do you do? Where do you go? How do you rescue animals?
Yeah.
Something like
Well, we were approached by Animal Planet to see if Animal Planet was looking for new content and new shows that were going to be family-centric, that the whole family, no matter if you're 2 years old or 102 years old, everyone could watch it together and put your phones down and take something positive away from the show. And then our production company, one of their employees was a huge fan of what we were doing at Panda Paws for quite a few years. And so she heard that when the Animal Planet was looking, and so she's like, this has to be a show. And so they pitched it, we filmed what you guys just saw, and they were like, yes, this is the kind of content, the direction Animal Planet really wants to get back to, which is about the animals. And so that's how it came about. When they asked if I would do it, I said yes, but under 3 conditions. Number 1, that it was documented, so it was not reality or like created content, but it was documented reality, so it's very authentic, very genuine to my life. Number 2, I wanted it to be all about family and something that everyone could watch, no matter what your age or your background or your religion or anything like that. I wanted it to be very family inclusive. And then 3, I wanted it to be educational, and not just educational on what I do, but educational on how the public can help and how other rescues are doing it. And so we show a bunch of different rescues on our show and their platform, and I think it's really good for the public to see the other side, because most public comes to a shelter or comes to my house for the rescue, and you don't see all the work that goes into it or what those animals need and how we get there. And so I want it to be very, very educational. And then on this show, what you guys are going to see is we go to Puerto Rico 6 months after Hurricane Maria devastated the island. And when we got there, the rescue that we worked with is Second Chance Animal Rescue, and they got power back the day that we got there. And then they lost it before we left. So it's still, that's how unstable it still is up there. A lot of people are still living with FEMA roofs, tarps as their roofs, and they're still getting water out of the mountainside because there's no running water up in the mountains. So it's still very, very bad in Puerto Rico, as you'll see on the episodes. We go to Hawaii to the lava flow epidemic and take animals out of the shelter to make room for the displaced animals. You'll see us go to the California wildfires. We touch base on the puppy mill capital of America, which is in Missouri. So our Midwest has a very bad puppy mill issue. And so we go to the puppy mills, the dog auctions, and show the world how to responsibly acquire an animal so you're not part of the problem.
That's a lot to tackle.
It was a lot. It was
I'm just
so
thinking about it, it's like, that's a lot.
I know, it's a lot.
You talk about it like it's just whatever.
Yeah.
do you have any personal experience on an animal uh, beforehand that there will be a typhoon coming out, or do you have any personal experience on that? That the animal has been on something like the behavior of the animal.
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
I mean, do you have any personal experience that an animal has known beforehand that there will be a typhoon like earthquake or any natural calamities that would happen?
Well, where I'm at, we don't get typhoons, hurricanes, things. We could have an earthquake, but we don't get natural disasters like Puerto Rico. And I have gone in when you know something's about to happen and you try to take as many animals out as possible. Or like the California wildfires, it started this big and we knew it was going to get this big, so you're trying to move as many animals out as possible if that's what you're asking. So we do try to work ahead of it, but with natural disasters, a lot of times you don't have time to get in until after the natural disasters happen. And then it's like cleaning up the damage and saving as many as you can. And I will say that a lot of those animals come back with like emotional scarring. You know, it's traumatizing to animals. And so those animals just require more time, more patience, more training, and just, you know, I call it thaw out. I let them come home and just thaw out and like relax and know that you're safe. And then we start working on anything that they need. But we don't normally know ahead of time when there's going to be like a typhoon. I mean, you guys are probably more familiar with that than me.
New Year is fast approaching. In the Philippines, that's like fireworks season. So, what would you suggest people can do about animals out in the street during this time? I'm sure they're scared.
Obviously, don't abuse them and don't throw fireworks at them and don't be a jerk. Like point blank, like seriously, like that stuff needs to just stop. Second, just have respect. Like if you know that there's a street dog over here, a cat, don't light it right in their direction. Like you just light it this way. Can you not, you know? And then also, find a, if you can, especially keep your own animals indoors so they're not adding to the problem and being out there. But second, if you're able to keep a street animal safe temporarily, please do so. But then just use compassion and use basic education to be humane as possible about it.
How do you know when to accept an animal, and then how do you deal with having
Okay, so my rescue focuses on quality, not quantity. And because I'm not doing typical healthy animals, I take special needs major medical hospice. I only have a certain amount of space. I'm only one person. I don't have staff or a full volunteer team or anything like that. And so I have to keep my numbers between like 1 and 8 rescues at any given time in my home that I'm taking care of. Sometimes we'll have like 30 dogs there. But that said, I have to focus on the ones that I have. And when that dog is better and adoptable and moves on, then I can focus on the next one in line. And for me, the animals that I typically have, I have to reject animals all the time because there's so many in need. But again, I'm hoping this encourages other people how to also do it, even on a smaller level, but how to also help the problem. But when usually the only animals that I intentionally will turn away are healthy animals because they have options. A lot of our shelter systems are partners, and so a lot of those animals, it's not turn away, instead I like direct them towards a rescue that's actually better off for them. But it's it's so hard when you have to like say no to something. That's hard because you may know that you might be their only option.
Do you let go of your rescued animals?
Do I what?
Do you let go of your rescued
I
animals?
do, yeah. You'll see
How
on.
heartbreaking is that?
Oh, that's the hardest. It's bittersweet. It's the hardest, easiest part. It's very difficult because I love my rescues. Like I genuinely love them when they come into my care and they're part of my family. And when I bring them in, I'm committed to them no matter how long it takes. And so you fall in love with them, and like their journey is sometimes really heartbreaking in the beginning. So it's emotional, and you go through this. You get attached. You go through this journey with them, and then when they get adopted, it's like they take a piece of your heart with them. But at the same time, they leave a piece with me, So I cry. You'll see me cry during adoptions. I'm like, thank you for adopting. And I'm like crying.
dogs have you had adopted or animals?
How many have I adopted or adopted out?
Have adopted dogs.
A little over 4,000. Yeah,
That's over the span of a decade.
a little over. Yeah.
Do you keep in touch with them?
Yes. As a matter of fact, a lot of our rescues have Facebook pages. Once they get adopted, their parents make them Facebook pages or Instagram pages or Twitters. And so I get to keep up with them, and I call them pup dates instead of updates. They're pup dates. But they'll send me regular pup dates and photos, and I get to see how happy they are. But yes,
You
I
get
do.
to see them again?
Yeah, sometimes I do. Yeah, like sometimes they'll like ask if they can bring them by, or you guys probably saw the pug on here that had really bad skin. She's like standing up in the air. Her name was Crunchy Crouton. She was like very thick and crunchy and gross. And now she has all fur because we fixed her, but now she's all fur, and her mom lives not too far, so she'll just bring her by just so I can squish on her. But yeah, I still do see them.
Can you share the story you shared that gorgeous look yours?
My head and tattoos. So I'm very into tattoos, as you know. Every one of my tattoos on my body has a very significant meaning to me and my life story. So everyone always asks, what's your favorite tattoo? And I don't have one because they all have meaning to me. As far as my hair, I originally shaved it for health. I donated my hair. And now I keep it short because I think it's really important, especially for young women, but children, women, men, it doesn't matter who you are, to know that you don't need hair to be beautiful, number one. And to not hide behind something like that. Instead, like, your beauty comes from the inside, truly. It's not just a cliche saying, it really does come from the inside. And there's like so many little kids out there that have alopecia or chemo or other reasons why they lose their hair. And I think it's really, you know, as a little girl growing up, I'm sure a lot of us can relate. You kind of look at like the Disney princesses, and they all have these like beautiful locks, you know, and how great for the youth that don't have hair to see someone on TV that is, you know, physically pulled together and that doesn't have hair, and it's kind of like, oh, that's inspirational. I don't need hair to be beautiful, so that's why I keep it short now. Plus, it's really easy. It's so easy. I just shave it once a week.
You mentioned a while ago during the tour that it's best to adopt adult animals.
Yeah.
Can you expound more on
Yes, yes, ma'am, I can. Okay, so I am huge about advocating for adopting adults and senior animals because, especially for first-time pet owners, because everybody wants the cute, fluffy puppy, but it doesn't stay a little puppy forever. It's very temporary. It's less than a year that it will look like that. And you don't know that personality or temperament or like quirks, maybe some bad behaviors, fears, you don't really know what that puppy's gonna grow up to be like, no matter how much you train it and socialize it. But when you're adopting an adult animal or a senior, you know exactly what that animal is like. You know their personality, what their fears are, their behaviors, like you know what you're getting. And so I think that, and obviously they have their health care and they're spayed and neutered. They're less expensive to adopt. They're easier to take care of. You don't have to do the puppy chewing phase, the potty training. Like, it's just easier to adopt an adult animal. But I think especially here in the Philippines, it's a good message because you all know what your own lifestyles look like. And to go meet the dogs and the adults and say which one would fit into this lifestyle, and they can say these four, then you can choose between those four which one is a good match for you. And I think that's way, you know, that's more of a fail-safe than if you adopt a puppy and you don't know what they're going to be like in a year.
Another question, Amanda, is that why did you name your organization after the name of a panda out of so many animals?
Because I rescue pandas. Oh. No, I don't. I tell people that though. You should see how much bamboo I have to import. It's a lot. No. Because my name is Amanda, and growing up everyone called me Amanda Panda. So then in hindsight, knowing that I have a television show now, I might have not named it a Panda Paws because everyone does think I rescue pandas. And I definitely would. But no, it's just after my name, Amanda Panda, and then paws, feet, and then rescue. So it wasn't well thought out, but
It's stuck.
It stuck, yeah.
I'm kind of interested, if I may ask, establishing this kind of organization and rescuing a lot of animals is quite expensive and costly.
Yes.
How do you manage to keep on, of course, feeding them,
Yeah.
taking a bath or anything? Are you personally handling all those things?
Yeah, so we are a nonprofit charity. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we rely 100% on public donations. So we don't have any government funding, and we don't have any grants or anything like that. We literally ask the public to help us, and they believe in our mission and what we're doing, and they help. We don't ask every day, but we ask when we need it. So it's like see a need, feel a need kind of mentality. And so if I have like a $4,000 surgery, USD surgery coming up, then I will ask. I say, this is what it's going to cost. People will donate the minute I hit $4,000. I let them know so that they know, like, hey, we've raised the funds. But we rely on the public to believe in our mission and help out. It's like Panda Paws I run Panda Paws, but Panda Paws is so much more than that because it really does take a whole entire village to run this rescue. So it's expensive. Right now we're spending between $100,000 and $150,000 USD in medical surgeries alone. That's not food, shelter, grooming. Like that's just for surgery. Expensive.
Is it the Philippines? I think adopting a stray can be like a dicey proposition because we still have rabies in the country and all these diseases. It's not like
I'm rabies vaccinated, so I can adopt a stray. I actually do have my rabies vaccination, so I can work with all kinds of animals.
yeah, personally, like we recently adopted a stray on the street, and he's been with us for a few months now. But I don't know how to if I should advocate for that because I don't know how the dogs or the parents at home,
Yeah.
What would you suggest for people who do want to take in strays?
Yeah.
Who are not.
Well, obviously, if they're friendly, because there's some strays that won't let you touch them or catch them, they're just friendly. If it's a friendly stray, then absolutely take it to your vet, get the health testing done, get the vaccinations done, the spaying and neutering done. Whether you're going to keep it or not, at least do that part to start, and then see how it does in your home. See how if you have another animal or children, go slow, but see how it does. And the worst case scenario is it was a street dog and it doesn't work out, but now it's a street dog that's spayed, vaccinated, has health care. So again, I would say if you're going to do that and they're friendly enough for you to handle, just handle it straight to your vet, and get the proper health care for that animal. And then give it a try. Like you did it and it's successful for you. So a lot of people out there could do that, but it doesn't do anyone any good if they're not spaying and neutering and doing the vaccinations. It's just the same cycle over and over.
In relation to her question about street dogs, one of our issues in the Philippines I've noticed is that people like dogs with breeds. So this leaves a big population of Aspen, Pinoy, which means Filipino dogs that are largely unadopted and left to the side. So how can we convince the population to adopt these street dogs even if they don't have a breed?
Right, yeah. It's so interesting because we live in a world, not just here in the Philippines, we all live in a world where we're really impulsive, and thanks Paris Hilton and the like for creating a lot of this, we have like this Hollywood mentality and we want this specific thing. But I think the biggest thing is coming back to education on finding the right match, not the right breed. Because everyone, I love a lot of breeds, but I know I'm not the right home for a certain breed. I know I'm not the right home for like a Jack Russell. It wouldn't work for me. I'm not the right home for an Akita, even though I have an Akita in rescue right now. She's only 10 days. But eventually, I would not be a home for an Akita. I know what the right match for me is, but it's off of personality. It's off of their energy levels, how it works in my own home dynamic. So instead of, obviously pushing rescue is a huge propaganda, but then also pushing matchmaking, not looking at just looks, but looking at if it fits your lifestyle properly. But some people, you can just never talk them out of it, and so then you can talk them into how to responsibly acquire. If they want a Shih Tzu, how to responsibly get a Shih Tzu, not just the first thing they see, online or from a puppy mill.
Last question. Amanda, you have so many things to do in your life, but you choose to give your heart fully doing this kind of thing. What made you interested then to do all those things, to rescue animals, instead of doing everything or something like different from you?
Yeah, so I grew up with a lot of brothers and sisters, and across the street from my house were differently abled adults that lived in the home. There was a woman who took care of adults that had Down syndrome, and they were my best friends, from elementary school all the way up. Even though we had 40 years age difference, they were my best friends. And so I always have had a passion and a pull to the differently abled humans, and I've worked with a lot of orphans from China that have special needs or are differently abled, and it's just been a huge part of who I am since I was little. But then I also had kind of a hard childhood in a sense where there was abuse in my home, and animals were my therapy. Animals were my your safe place, and even if you can cry into your animal's fur and they love you, they're not judging you, they love you no matter what. And so I think just organically they kind of came together hand in hand as I got older. I was going into human medicine. I wanted to be a neonatal cardiac surgeon. But then at the time I was a single mother, so after medical school for humans, I switched over to the vet world and I started working in surgery. And then it just kind of moved in that direction. And then again, if you guys told me 2 years ago I was going to have a TV show, I thought y'all crazy, but now I have a television show about it. And so who knows what's next. But it will be something that has to do with animals, differently abled, handy-capable humans and pets. Yeah.
What do you want the viewers to take away from it?
So this is obviously an animal-centric show, but the most important thing that I think the viewers should take away is to get invested in the planet. And that means, obviously there's two messages I really want. Number one is kindness is cool. We live in a world that we already have enough ugly, we already have enough hate and enough like battle and fighting, that to me, kindness, it really is cool. It's actually way easier to be kind than it is to go out of your way to be nasty. So I really want to push that message, especially to the next generation, that kindness is cool. You know, be friends. Find the uniqueness, and instead of making that uniqueness why you don't want to be friends, make that a reason why you do want to be friends, because that's really cool. And then second, you know, I believe that everyone has a part inside of them that is humanitarian. I believe everyone wants to do something to make the planet a better place. And whether it's working with senior citizens or like the globe and like the waterworks or vegetation or, you know, animals, wounded warriors, whatever it may be, find out what you really want to do to make the world a better place, and then stop making excuses. Get out there and do it. Like, do something. You don't have to obviously do it at this level. That's crazy. Like, I know my life is crazy, but do something. If you can volunteer an hour a day or 2 days a month or something like that, and just give your time. Again, time is priceless, and it doesn't have to be animal rescue, but just find what it is that you're really passionate about, and then get out there and help make the planet a better place for everybody.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.